Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Smarketing CONNECT podcast. I am your host, Tom Libby. I'm the co-founder and one of the owners of both Smarketing CONNECT and Diversified Sales Solutions. Today, I have a really cool guest with me, at least one of my favorite LinkedIn people. I follow him on LinkedIn, so he's kind of cool, and we're very similar in nature. So Jason is with us from, I'm not even going to try to pretend what your, to guess what your thing is. So we'll let you do that. We'll let you introduce yourself and your company. And so in a few sentences, Jason, why don't you tell us who you are and what you do?
Sure. Hey, first off, thanks for having me, Tom. I appreciate it. I'm Jason Integrity. I own a company called Integrity Go, and I'm a sales strategist. So what that means is I take everything that's great about you and your company that's in your mind, that passion that you have for it, and I eloquently put it into words so that people can understand it. A lot of what we do, we start our company, it's our baby, right? And so we hold it close and we don't really tell people about how it works, and we expect people to show up and buy it. And that's not how it works at all. So I help you create this conversation to where you can explain who you are and what you do in a way that the people who need you can understand it. And it's just a conversation after that.
Perfect. Awesome. I couldn't have done all that, so I'm glad. So question really that the first question I like to know about all of our guests is what type of company or size company, who do you typically work with? Like what are we looking for you? Like if I'm a 500 person company, or if I'm a 10 person company, which one of those two would you prefer to work with?
I like the smaller companies more, and not that I can't work with larger companies. I can work with an entire sales team if that's what you have. But I like working with smaller companies more, simply because there isn't that one guy that's throwing a wrench into the process, right? So when there's a smaller company, I'm talking to the sales rep, I'm talking to the owner, and then we can make the changes that we need and execute. With larger companies, you're talking to the guys on the ground, then there's middle management, then there's the C-level execs, and then there's always something lost in translation. And there's always one guy who wants to keep things the way that it is. Yeah, I understand the company isn't doing good, but I'm doing great. So let's keep this going as much as I can. So for that reason, I prefer working with smaller companies.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree with you more from one perspective, at least. It like that the idea or concept of like turning the Titanic versus being in a speedboat and just being agile and being able to just take a left-hand turn because that's where the market tells you to go, right? It's just I totally agree with you. So that being said, my next question makes even more sense to me now, because I always like to ask people about small business tools. And if you prefer working with smaller companies, I'm assuming you have a toolbox of things that you bring to the table with them, but I want to know about what your must-have is. When you think of the tools, whether it's software or hardware or whatever tools that you think about. So in your opinion, what is a must-have tool for every small business?
Man, that's an excellent question. Must-have tool, in my opinion, is just whatever your follow-up infrastructure is, right? So are you sending out follow-up emails? Do you start a sequence that way? Are you using like a chat bot for your website so that you can interact with people? How are you following up with these inquiries? Because it's not so much getting attention to your website or getting people to interact with you on social media. It's what do you do after that? Once they show up, how do you keep them and continue that conversation? So the tools are, I guess, on the agency side to have some kind of email sequences going for the various stages of your customer journey. So if it's somebody who you just met and you get their email address, what are you sending them after that? Once they make a purchase, what are you sending them after that to continue the conversation? How are you educating them and showing them that you aren't everybody else too?
Right. So do you have how do I word this follow-up? Is there, so you don't care what they use to do it, whether it's whatever CRM or HubSpot, or it doesn't really, that part of it doesn't matter to you. So your tool is the actual system, like the process itself, right? That's what I'm understanding.
No, I don't think it matters which one you use. There's so many options, right? So
I agree.
Integrity Go has an agency side to it, to where we can do all of that for you. But if you're using HubSpot or Constant Contact, as long as you know how to use the tool, you're good.
Yeah.
You are here trying to hammer in a screw. That is not, it's not going to work.
Gotcha. I'm with you. So I guess the follow up to that then, and because we're kind of talking about really you're talking in your tool part very specific, but so let me ask you this then. When you are presented with an opportunity from a client, what is very typically the number one challenge that they ask you to solve for them? What is the number one thing that they most often ask you to solve for them?
It's kind of two tiers, right? So most people look at sales as, I have to turn into the sales guy, and I'm an introvert, so now I have to be an extrovert, right? And it's like, no, you don't have to turn into anything. It's just a conversation, and we can have this conversation on whatever level you're comfortable with. So the number one is just looking at sales as, this is just a part of the process. It's not a monster. It's not a thing that you have to get over or you have to become somebody else to do. So whatever step it is in your process, it's just a part of the process. So let's make sure that we have something in place that addresses the most important part of your customer journey, is them buying something, right? So number one is what's there for them to make a decision on, and what's the next step, and you getting paid and then delivering the product or the service. So most companies, they have a great product, they have a great service, right? And now it's like, okay, let's sell it. And it's like, I don't really know how to do that part.
So it's really built around, for you, the number one challenge that you solve really is allowing them to sell it at their pace and their comfort zone, not forcing a sales system on them because of, okay, I got you. That makes perfect sense.
It's not a cookie cutter thing. So what works for me may not work for you, right? And the environment that I put myself in and trying to sell my service, so I'm a career salesperson. I'm extroverted. I like having conversations. So I'll go to networking events, or I'll talk to people online about sales and marketing as much as I can, because it's fun to me. But if you're a plumber, you don't necessarily want to go around and talk plumbing to people who don't need you, right? So let's have this conversation with the people who need the plumber right now, and then let's start planting seeds with people as it comes up again. Man, I saw a guy on YouTube, or I saw a guy on Facebook that's a plumber, and now I need a plumber. Who is that guy? So what do we have out there to where they can find you again and make it back to the website?
Right. Gotcha. So cool. So my next question is really probably one of the most important to me, because I do a lot of referral based business, right? Like I refer people out. I advise people on bringing in consultants of multiple disciplines. So this is really important to me, this question. So you have a client that's looking to bring in some sort of sales or marketing agency, or some sort of sales and marketing consultant that is not you. What advice do you give to that small business owner? What advice do you give them in order to make sure they get the right match for them in bringing in that consultant?
It's kind of twofold, right? So before you venture out, what exactly do you need help with? And if you don't understand your struggles, then every answer is going to sound like the right answer, right? Yeah. So it's like, okay, well, let's increase your social media presence. It's like, oh, okay, let's make sure that your email sequences are together. All right, but if you don't understand your problem, then every answer is going to sound right. So that's on one end. The second end is, what questions are they asking you? Questions are the answers, right? So if they are asking very general questions, they probably don't know what they're talking about. It's just a very, very layman's education level as far as understanding marketing and sales. But if they're asking very specific questions about what you do, how you've been doing it, the outcomes that you expect, the work that you're willing to put in to make these changes, or if they're asking questions like that, and I guess this applies to anything, not even just sales and marketing, right? You go to a doctor and it's like, I got a headache, and he goes, okay, did you hit your head? No. Okay, well, that's all I got, you know. but if they're doing a real diagnosis and trying to figure out what's wrong, how long have you had the headache? You know, you got blurred vision, you know, is your ears ringing? What else is going on?
Right.
You know, so what questions are they asking throughout that process? And then once they have an actual diagnosis, what do they give back to you? Do they say, okay, we need to work on this, and that? You know, once we have this part together, then we can go out and try lead generation, you know, to make sure that this process is working the way that you need it to work. You know, so the questions that they ask should tell you everything.
Yeah, I think that's great. All right, so this is kind of a goofy question. It really, I tried sometimes, once in a while try just to get people to understand that we're just people too, and we're not like, you know, we're not you know, fictitious things. But so I ask all my guests, Jason, if you could be a superhero, who would it be, and tell us why?
If I could be a superhero.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I guess I choose from what's behind. I guess I'll be Black Panther. Like that's the one that I would pick. So if we look at Black Panther, right? So he's like Stark level genius, right? And then he has all of the strength and power that Captain America has, right? So this dude, then he like is a gazillionaire, so he has Stark level money too, because of the vibranium stuff. So he can do pretty much whatever he wants whenever he wants, and including choosing to jump into some of these fights. You know, some of those fights, it's like, nah, I'll let them handle it.
Well, that just plays into his intelligence level. He's like, that fight's not worth it. I'll go into the
right.
I'm not fighting that battle. I like it. I like it. So last thing for this portion of our podcast, which is I am always been a big fan of paying it forward, right? Being able to give an opportunity to somebody that never expected it, never asked me to, or never asked me for it. So I love this part in the podcast and asking our guests, do you have a sales or a marketing expert or a marketing sales or marketing consultant or agency that you just think has done such a good job that you want to give them a shout out? You want to just tell them that you think they're great, because of course I'm going to tag them in this, and when we put this out on social media, and they're going to know that, you know, that you recommend them and you spoke highly of them. So so do you have somebody like that in your repertoire?
I do. I just finished this book. It's called Human Centered. I don't want to misquote it. It's called Human Centered Interaction, Human Centered Marketing. Hold on, let me pull it up. And the author, I had a chance to meet in a coaching conversation. So it's all coaches in there, and he was one of the guests. Let me pull up the right name, because I don't want to say the wrong name. I hope we can edit this part.
No, I forgot to mention to you, I do not do any editing, so this is going to go exactly.
Oh no, we just shoot it. So it's human centered. Man, I had it. Hold on. Human-centered communication.
Human-centered communication.
Yeah, it's by Ethan Butte, right?
Butte. How do you spell that? B-U-T-E?
B-E-U-T-E.
B-E-U-T-E. Okay.
Yep. Human-centered. Can I get it? Can we get it?
Yeah, we got it. We got it. We're good.
All right. Cool. So, it's an outstanding book, right? And what it talks about is putting the people back into your marketing. So everything has gone so digital that we are afraid to talk to each other. So it's like send them to the landing page, send them to the funnel, start the email sequence, and hopefully they buy something before I actually have to engage with them. So what the book talks about is just having real conversations. So it's, that's already dear to me.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Talk to people, show that you are a person, and then have a real conversation. Everything else should fall into place if everybody is going into it with good intentions, right? So instead of using a bot to send follow-up, how about you just call them and say, hey, I'm just checking on you, right?
Yeah, I'm with you.
All the way to sending a video instead of texting. Just do a quick little video and then send a video. And then you can say more in a video than you could in text anyway.
I agree with that. And LinkedIn now has it on their mobile. You can do the video right there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so LinkedIn, you go right into your LinkedIn messaging, hit the mobile, hit the video, record a message directly to whoever, and then hit send, and LinkedIn sends it right embedded in there. So it's pretty cool. But so Jason, thank you very, very much, sir. This is the goodbye kind of section. So we're just going to say thank you. I appreciate your time and effort. I appreciate everything you do, and I'm really happy to be connected to you on LinkedIn and through Smarketing CONNECT. So last thing, how do people get a hold of you if they wanted to reach out to you after seeing this and they wanted to either connect with you on LinkedIn or whatnot? How do they do that? I'm
on everything. Just put in Jason Integrity and I should pop up. The company is Integrity Go. You can put that in and I should pop up.
Awesome. Well, sir, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. And I'm definitely going to have you back on our next podcast. So I'll be talking to you soon.
Hey, thanks so much.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much for checking in, and keep selling.